Welcome back. Queen Elizabeth II is 93 years old this year, and since she is the Queen, her birthday is celebrated in all Commonwealth countries, Nigeria included. And so a party was held in her honor at the residence of the British Deputy High Commissioner here in Lagos, attended by diplomats, politicians, people from the creative industry, and everyone who has some affiliation to Britain. And of course, friends and family of the Deputy High Commissioner, who incidentally is nearing the end of her tenure. Mrs. Laura Bofis leaves in a few weeks to take on a new assignment in Jordan. British High Commissioner Catriona Liang, who was also at the party, will be overseeing things in Lagos until the arrival of another Deputy High Commissioner. Mrs. Bofis talked about her love for Lagos, Nigeria, the people, the energy, the culture, and as you can tell by her beautiful outfit that evening, she really loves the country. And no one ever comes to Nigeria and leaves the same. So the High Commissioner, who has been here a couple of months, is also excited about being in Nigeria. I spoke to both of them about the relations Nigeria has with the UK and the probability of any changes because of Brexit.
We want to be Nigeria's partner of choice across everything from prosperity, security, but particularly around creativity and tech. London, Lagos are two of the centres of creative industries. There's so much to play for. We've just had 6 young creative entrepreneurs in London for the last week, being mentored, being introduced to creative hubs, and they're just back very excited about their experience. So what I want to do during my time here is to deepen those partnerships and put both of us more firmly on the map. It's been challenging for us, frankly, but that's our democracy working through a complicated process. But I think what Brexit has kind of shone a spotlight on is the importance of those relationships, and maybe we took a bit for granted and we now need to rebuild and re-energize them. So for Nigeria, UK, I think it's an opportunity, not a threat.
I feel like I've grown to be a Lagosian. I certainly feel that Lagos has got underneath my skin, and I feel incredibly privileged to have worked here, and there's so much more that I would have liked to do. Equally, I feel happy and proud and privileged to have been able to work here for so long and to have contributed to further strengthening the relationships between the UK and Nigeria, and I think our relationships are going to from strength to strength. What Brexit looks like remains to be determined, but irrespective of that, I think our friendship is here to stay, and what Brexit is intended to do is ensure that we as the UK have more freedom on our trade relationships, and that is not going to make anything worse for Nigeria. If anything, it's going to mean that we have much more independence to develop the trading relationship that we want with Nigeria.
So it's no news that the European Union has granted Britain what is being referred to as a flextension until October 31st for Brexit. And this means the UK can leave before that time. However, in the event the UK has not left before then, it will be required to report to the EU on progress made so far, at least by the month of June. A very confident Prime Minister Theresa May, addressing Parliament after the emergency meeting in Brussels, defended her decision to delay Brexit and seek a compromise exit plan with the opposition Labour Party. And I have joining me now the past president of the Nigerian Britain Association and CEO of Tough Resources Nigeria Limited and Enterprise Development Consultant, Tunde Arogunmati. Thank you for joining us on Diplomatic Channel.
Yeah, good afternoon.
And I know you have been following closely the discussions on Brexit and the negotiations, even though you've been keeping quiet about them, but you have a lot to say. All right. So let's begin with what the EU has recently done. Are they being too lenient with Britain?
Well, first and foremost, before I start out, I'd just like to say that these are my personal opinions, right? The Nigeria Britain Association generally doesn't take political positions on things like this, but it's been going for a long time, and I guess we have to talk about it. It's very important. Yes, the EU being lenient. The EU, the United Kingdom still remains a member of the EU, right? So the EU would do well to be seen to be giving the United Kingdom a good opportunity to make best of what its intentions are, which in the first instance seems to be an exit, a clean and clear exit. But having said that, we have seen over the past 3 years that there have been developments to show that Brexit is probably not a very, I don't know, it's not a very, it's not a prospect that is sustainable. It's not a prospect that can be seen through, given the kind of complexities that come with it. Because I'm sure a lot of thought was probably not given to it in the first instance, how it evolved, And I think if you would remember, it all started out a bit from an opportunistic drive of David Cameron to win some quick votes, probably having from winning the Scottish referendum to stay in the UK, thought he could quickly, leverage on that to get more support for and actually did think he was a Remainer. Actually did think that it was a done deal not to remain in the EU, and then it just went kind of belly up, and so the United Kingdom is where it is today.
Let's talk about that, the conclusion, which is Parliament now agreeing, the British Parliament agreeing to a deal. They've struck down about 8 deals that have come up. They haven't agreed on any one of them. Still haven't agreed on Theresa May's deal. They don't want to. So what exactly do you think is going on? Why don't they want to support any deal? Why don't they want to support Brexit?
Brexit is not doable. You're trying to say you want to, like the EU has always pointed out, you number first and foremost, you're very clear about what you want to do. Number two, you want to cherry pick. You want to do this. I want to rescind my membership of a club, and I want to have the benefits, if not even better benefits than existing members. It is not a realizable objective. So, I mean, from my point of view, from a strategic thinking point of view, yes, you see, I do respect the wishes of the British people, but unfortunately, they were misinformed on what it really entails, and it is ironic to find out that most people who voted were not, they didn't quite understand how the EU worked, what it did, and what benefits the country was gaining from it. They only saw it from a nationalistic perspective, if you like. See, I think the problem here is people trying to jostle for leadership.
This is an impossible situation.
Yeah.
Even though the British people think there should be another referendum, the Prime Minister has ruled that out. And even the MPs have also ruled that out. They voted against another referendum. And Ms. Theresa May feels this is, this is the drive that she needs. I mean, the most important thing is that Parliament wants Brexit.
But I need to remind you that only last week or so, or was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a petition for a second for a rethink. 6 million people signed it. There was a big march, and the Parliament that says nobody can change their minds change their minds every other day. We've had about 4 times. They themselves have.
They have voted.
Voted to change their minds. Yeah. So why are they saying people cannot change their minds? And and the figures we're getting show that there is now a preponderance of people who want to remain.
But they did vote on amendments on Mrs. May's deal. And they also voted on a new referendum.
You're talking
about
the Parliament
referendum.
now, but the people say they want. Okay, why was it convenient to take the first referendum to the people and a second referendum cannot be taken to the people? I'm saying it's not because, you see, this is affecting the entire world. It's like affecting my business. I can assure you, because I have relationships. Right from the day it happened, the pound went down from about 1.6 or close to 1.6 to about 1.4. Lost money. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. So it's not, you see, it seems as if the UK thinks they are, and I think that's one of the problems. They think of the governments, I must say, think they can, exist in isolation. It doesn't work nowadays. The world has changed, and they know it, and that's the irony. But you see, using people to drive personal, or rather, let me not put personal, vested interest and agenda, is not going to work, and that is what we're seeing here. You see, I never really want to talk about this, but if I must talk about it, I must talk about it very frankly. That is the problem, and needs to be looked at. You see, Mrs. May cannot keep on going, flogging a dead horse. It's not going to get up and walk.
But this is almost 3 years of negotiations. She's come this far. She's been able to secure a flextension from the EU. I mean, they have up to October 31st, and she says, okay, we can even get this done by the end of May or before the EU Parliament elections. Do you think she could pull back at this point, having gone this far? Having promised the British people time and
left
again,
to the British people,
and with all the options.
But one thing I can say right away is that it's shown a flaw in the system of governance. It's shown a serious deep flaw, a flaw in which someone can, or a group of people now meaning people who are in a minority, so to speak, in the minority in terms of numbers, and can just sit down and hold an entire nation to ransom, because this is what's really happening. From my point of view, again, I'm saying, because look, there's no way Brexit is going to work. So if, I keep on coming back to you saying that, I promise I'll do what you said. But if, because, and then it wasn't responsible in the first instance for any government to allow people to take a yes-no referendum because it was too black and white. They did not know.
But that's democracy.
No, that is distorted democracy. It is opportunistic democracy. And honestly, look, it is very easy. Okay, and the one thing that really excites me, just a few weeks before that, David Cameron referred to some countries as fantastically corrupt, right?
Yeah.
Now, tell me, it is not corruption of some sort. Corruption is when you're doing things the wrong way. Yeah.
Mr. Tunde Arogunmati, thank you again.
Thank you very much
for joining us on Diplomatic Channel.
Thanks.
And that's the program this week. Talk to us using any of the addresses showing on your screen. I am Amarachi Ubani. I'll see you next time.